Hey everyone, and welcome back to Learn Daily AI. Today, we're diving into a comprehensive explainer to totally demystify artificial intelligence, pulling exclusively from our core source documents. Whether you're entirely new to the field or you already have a pretty solid foundation, we're going to break down this massive topic so you can truly master the concepts. Let's get into it. We hear the term AI thrown around literally everywhere right now, in the news, at work, probably even at the dinner table. But before we can actually understand its massive societal impact, we need to take a step back and ask, what exactly is it?
Well, both the Oxford Dictionary and the European Commission define AI pretty broadly. They describe it as systems that display intelligent behavior by analyzing their environment and taking action to achieve specific goals. Simply put, it's about systems simulating human intelligence like reasoning and problem solving so they can act autonomously. It's not just a fancy calculator, it's a dynamic system designed to actually interact with the world around it.
To guide our learning today, here's our roadmap. We'll be defining artificial intelligence, moving from rules to machine learning, unpacking algorithmic bias and subjectivity, looking at China's social credit system, and finally, wrapping up with ethical guidelines for AI.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Defining Artificial Intelligence.
Think of AI as basically teaching computers to think and learn the way we do, just way faster and on a massively larger scale. The core processes involve things like learning, reasoning, problem-solving, perception, and decision-making. This is the exact same tech powering everything from voice assistants like Siri to those eerily accurate recommendation engines on Netflix. It's essentially taking messy, unstructured environments and making intelligent, goal-oriented sense of them.
Moving right along to Section 2, From Rules to Machine Learning.
This shift is super important to understand. In the first wave, which was known as symbolic AI, human experts had to create really precise step-by-step algorithms for the computer to follow. Contrast that with the second wave, machine learning. These are data-driven systems that bypass the human expert almost entirely, learning directly from the data itself to identify patterns and improve autonomously over time. Early symbolic AI was built on super simple, hard-coded if-then rules. Imagine a medical program that says if the patient has a fever, prescribe drug X. If they're coughing, prescribe drug Y. Now, that is highly effective in a totally constrained environment. But, as you can probably guess, it struggles big time the second you introduce massive, unpredictable real-world variables.
And that is exactly why today we rely heavily on deep learning. It's this incredible subset of machine learning that uses complex artificial neural networks with multiple layers. It literally mimics the structure of the human brain to process oceans of unstructured data, stuff like real-time facial recognition or complex speech patterns. The algorithm trains itself, discovering its own rules without a human explicitly having to code them in.
Which brings us to Section 3, Algorithmic Bias and Subjectivity.
There's this really eye-opening quote from a European Parliamentary Research Service report that just lays it out plainly. It is important to note that AI algorithms cannot be objective. That statement completely shatters the illusion that algorithms are perfect, perfectly fair entities. Because they build their entire worldview based on the training data we give them, they are inherently subjective.
We actually fall for this fascinating trap called math washing. This happens when algorithms seem totally objective, giving off this vibe of precise facticity, simply because they're using math and numbers to represent really complex, messy social realities. We instinctively just assume that because a computer spits out a mathematical score, it couldn't possibly be biased. But our sources confirm that's simply not true. While engineers rarely ever intend to create prejudiced algorithms, the risks of unintentional bias are huge. Our sources show that AI can inadvertently discriminate, for example, against women in job screening algorithms if the system misses human context, like maternity leave, and just penalizes the gap in employment. We also see unequal reliability, where facial and voice recognition algorithms consistently work best for white men simply due to imbalanced training data. Ultimately, without serious safeguards, AI risks amplifying deeply embedded societal inequalities at a really alarming rate.
Let's look at how this plays out in the real world in Section 4, China's social credit system.
To really grasp the extreme potential of data-driven behavioral modification, we are looking strictly through the lens of our source documents at an ambitious experiment in digital social control. This system intends to monitor, rate, and regulate the financial, social, and moral behavior of citizens. The stated goal is to provide the trustworthy with benefits and discipline the untrustworthy. It draws on a staggering amount of data, combining financial and criminal records with online shopping preferences and facial recognition surveillance.
The really crucial part here is how specific behaviors are actually quantified. Citizens can gain points for things like engaging in charity work, caring for elderly family members, or donating blood. But on the flip side, they lose points for offenses like drunk driving, spreading internet rumors, or even protesting against authorities. Every single recorded action feeds into one unified score. And the realities of living under this system are pretty stark. High scores lead to some incredible social privileges, like fast-track work promotions, cheaper public transport, deposit-free rentals, and even shorter hospital wait times. Conversely, low scores lead to severe restrictions. We're talking bans on taking flights or high-speed trains, being blocked from government jobs, and even facing public shaming on community TV screens.
This brings us to our final topic, Section 5, Ethical Guidelines for AI. Because artificial intelligence is just so incredibly powerful and, as we've seen, potentially very subjective, our sources heavily emphasize the need to build strict guardrails. First up, AI must be fair. We absolutely need diversity, non-discrimination, and fairness. The system has to work equally well for different people across different contexts, so the benefits of AI are shared without prejudice.
Second is transparency. It's so vital that we avoid the whole black box problem, where we just accept an AI's output without having any idea how it got there. We must be able to clearly explain the decisions an AI makes, the exact steps that led to those decisions, and what data informed them in the first place.
Third, we need human agency and accountability. Humans have to remain in charge of the final decisions. We need clear chains of accountability so we know exactly who is responsible and how to fix problems when an AI gets something critically wrong.
Finally, technical robustness, safety, and privacy. We need absolute certainty that AI tools don't contain hidden errors that could cause harm, and that goes hand in hand with strict governance rules about our personal data to protect our privacy and ensure these massive systems can't be exploited. Ultimately, ethics act as the steering wheel, helping ensure that AI development is guided in a socially responsible direction. In fact, our sources suggest something really interesting, that AI developers might soon need to hold professional codes and duties of care very similar to those held by medical doctors. These frameworks are absolutely necessary to foster a culture of responsibility and ensure this tech impacts society in a positive way. So, I want to leave you with one final, massive question to think about as we wrap up today's explainer. As AI continues to evolve by learning directly from human data, will our ethical guardrails actually be strong enough to guide it, or will it simply amplify our greatest flaws? Knowing that AI relies entirely on the data we feed it, does the future of this technology depend on the rules we choose to establish today? Thank you so much for joining me for this masterclass here on Learn Daily AI. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.